to unbelievers sometimes, we come off as like holier than thou kind of. Like we make them feel like, wow, I'm a sinner, man. I can't be around you. And we might not say this out loud. We might not even like actively think about it, but sometimes it's there. We might not even realize it. And it comes off that way. You know, I was sharing with the youth the other day about a movie I watched called Unplanned, which I recommend you watch it, right? And there's a scene where there are two groups of Christians at Planned Parenthood protesting. Well, one isn't really protesting, but one group is protesting and shouting like, and saying, you guys are going to hell. You women going into this clinic, you know, you're gonna burn in hell, and God hates you for doing this, killing babies, right? And all that. That's like one approach, right? From one church group. And here you have this other group. You know, they're just like reaching out and saying, hey, what's your story? Why are you coming here? You know? And just talking to people, having an ear to hear what their struggles are. Why are you thinking of aborting this baby? You know, can I implore you to maybe think otherwise? We can talk with you. You know, and it's just such a contrast. Right? And I think if Jesus were here, he would be saddened that there would be a group of Christians out there demonizing and condemning and saying, you guys are going to hell because of your sin, you know. And that's how they hope to win people somehow, right? And I say this, I want to be clear, I say this not to minimize the truth. The truth is the truth. There's a place to speak the truth of the word. There's a place to let people know about the truth and what we believe in. But how you share that truth is just as important, right? If you're going out screaming at people, telling them they're going to hell, I guarantee you they're not going to come to Christ. Right? And so do we have a heart for compassion for others? Do we have a heart of compassion that just compels us to reach out to others, not only to help them, but to share the gospel? Right? I was just like listening to Francis Chan today. He was sharing about his some of the crazy things he did early on when he first became a Christian. He felt so compelled by the gospel that oh my gosh, my friends in high school, they're not going to heaven if I don't share the gospel. He felt so compelled and had so much compassion for the people in his high school that he went through the high school like directory. He called up every senior that was graduating. I dare you guys to do that. Because he was like, man, these seniors, they're graduating. I might not see them again. So he literally called up each one, trying to share the gospel with them. Right? Isn't that crazy? And then he's like sharing, like he was so compelled that you know, the youth pastor at one point had to rent a bus to pick up him and his friends because he was able to get like 50 of his friends to come to youth group. Right? I dare you guys to do that. You know, I mean, like, can you imagine that? You guys having such a heart and compassion for your friends that if they don't hear the gospel, you know, that's it. You know, they might never. And just reaching out to them. Right? And that's such a compelling thing. You know, a reminder for us. Are we willing to have that compassion, right? And to share with others. Lastly, I'm just going to end on this. Can we be sacrificial? I know a lot of us here love watching superhero movies, but I don't know if you realize, it seems to me that almost every single superhero movie pretty much has the same theme in terms of the superhero, the hero. You know, the movie always involves the hero making sacrifices in order to protect somebody they love, or to protect the world, or something along those lines, right? Sacrifices are made, right? And so if you watch Avengers Endgame movie, just kidding, I'm not gonna ruin it. But you know certain superheroes made sacrifices. I'll just leave it at that. So, right? But it's the same, come on, it's the same theme in every, you shouldn't be surprised. It just plays out differently, right? How they make those sacrifices. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, is it any wonder that in the Bible, that in the gospel, the idea of sacrifice is such a huge thing? right? And why is it that a lot of movies we watch involve people making sacrifices? It's because when we see that, there is something emotional, that happens. We become invested in that character. We start caring and opening up. We start feeling what they feel, right? It evokes something in us. And that's why the greatest story ever told, the story of Jesus, which I remember one pastor famously saying, every movie that you ever watched was based on the Bible, basically. The greatest story ever told. I'm like, yeah, I'm inclined to believe that. It's just some variation of that, right? The greatest story ever told. God, the Creator, sending His Son, who willingly sacrificed Himself on the cross to save all of us. That's a sacrifice that defined Jesus' life. Right, if you look at Jesus' life on this earth, His compassion always drove Him to sacrifice His time, His energy, right, to heal people, to be with people. Because sacrifices, when you make a sacrifice for someone and they didn't ask for it, it makes people go like, wow, why would you do that for me? Or it makes them say, wow, you really do care. Right? It's the most amazing thing. I don't know if you've experienced the sacrifice of Hope Church. This is such an awesome family, right? When someone is in need, man, people, they sacrifice their time and energy and cook like 10 pots of chicken soup and send it to your home, And you know what they do sometimes? They leave it there, and then they call you and say, oh, yeah, I left it there. It's okay. I didn't want to bother you kind of thing, right? So humble about it. That's a beautiful thing, right? And so the question is, are we like that? Are we like Jesus? Are we sacrificial, willing to make those sacrifices in time, in our resources, energy, money, to just help people out, to care for people, right? Sometimes just one act like that alone is enough to make people go, wow, why did you do that? I want to know. I want to know more, right? So, as we close our time and as I ask the worship team to come up, I just want to ask you, take some time to evaluate. Are we really living a potent Christian life? Or are we just playing church, as Lee Strobel said? Right? Are we willing to be authentic, to be compassionate with the people around us? Make those sacrifices to show them our love? Or are we just so used to just being around each other that we're not willing to do that? My hope is that, as we leave this place, we would be challenged to step it up a notch, right? In the areas where we need to be more real and confessional, let's do that. The areas where, maybe we have particular biases, maybe we didn't like certain people, that we could challenge ourselves, even just this week, to show love to someone. In those moments where we know someone needs our help, and we can show them God's love by sacrificing our time, our money, that we challenge ourselves to do that. So that people around us, especially those who do not Jesus, can truly, truly see how potent the Christian life is.
Sing worthy.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one could have ever saved. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Live for you. Sing holy. Holy, there is no one like you.